I dated Blake for 2 years. People kept telling me I was too good for him. I thought they were just jealous. I thought they did not understand him like I did. I believed love meant patience. I believed love meant giving chances. I believed love meant staying, even when it was hard. Blake worked as a bartender. On weekends he played guitar in a cover band. He loved attention. He loved being the fun guy. He loved living like tomorrow did not matter. He also had a roommate named Tessa. He always said she was like a sister to him. He said they were family. He said I should not worry. He said I was being insecure when I asked questions. But Tessa did not act like a sister. She walked around their apartment in towels like it was normal. She cooked him breakfast wearing almost nothing. She sat on his lap during movie nights with their friends. She leaned close when she talked to him. She touched his arm a lot. She laughed too loudly at his jokes. She acted like she owned the space and like she owned him. When I said it felt strange, Blake told me I was overthinking. He told me I was being dramatic. He told me I was imagining things. He told me I was trying to control his life. He told me a healthy girlfriend would trust him. Then he started choosing her over me again and again. If Tessa had a bad day at work, Blake would cancel our date. If I planned a nice dinner, Blake would say he had to go home because Tessa needed someone to talk to. If I invited him to stay at my place, he would sometimes leave in the middle of the night. He would say Tessa was upset about her ex and could not sleep and needed comfort. He acted like he was being kind and supportive. He acted like I was selfish for wanting him to stay. When I got promoted at my accounting firm, I was proud of myself. I worked hard for that promotion. I expected my boyfriend to be happy for me. Blake forgot to congratulate me. He did not even pretend to care. Later he said he was distracted because Tessa got a parking ticket and was upset. A parking ticket mattered more to him than my career milestone. I told myself it was just a bad day. I told myself he would make it up later. He never did. His best friend Danny kept trying to warn me. Danny owned a small construction company. He was the kind of person who showed up. He was steady. He was reliable. He was quiet but observant. He did not gossip. He did not insult Blake. He just helped me when Blake failed me. There were moments that should have opened my eyes sooner. One time Blake promised to pick me up from the airport. I waited with my suitcase while flights landed and people hugged their partners. My phone stayed quiet. I called him again and again. Finally I got a message that said he could not come because Tessa wanted to go shopping and needed him to drive her. Like shopping was an emergency. I stood there feeling foolish. Then Danny showed up with coffee and a ride. He did not lecture me. He just asked if I was okay. Another time I went to one of Blake's band shows. I was excited to support him. I stood near the stage and cheered. Halfway through the night Blake disappeared. He did not even tell me he was leaving. Later I found out he went home because Tessa said she felt sick and needed care. Danny appeared again. He drove me home. He asked if I was okay. He never said Blake was trash. But his eyes always looked concerned. I told Danny to stop worrying. I told him Blake and I were solid. I told him I loved Blake and we had our own way of doing things. Danny did not argue. He just said he would be around if I needed anything. Then Blake started acting strange about Danny. Blake said Danny was trying to steal me. Blake said nice guys like Danny were the worst because they pretended to care. Blake said Danny was fake. Blake said Danny wanted to sleep with me and was waiting for an opportunity. Blake tried to make me suspicious of the one person who consistently helped me. I defended Danny. That made Blake angry. He said I was naive. He said I did not see how men really were. After that I stopped mentioning Danny to avoid fights. I stopped telling Blake when Danny helped me. I kept quiet. I tried to keep the peace. I did not realize that silence was making everything worse. Then came last Friday. It was supposed to be Blake's biggest show yet. A big venue downtown. Bigger crowd. Better chance for his band. I wanted to support him. I bought a new outfit. I invited my friends to come. I wanted to be proud of him. I wanted to stand in the crowd and feel like I belonged in his life. Blake told me Tessa would be there too. He said she was basically their unofficial manager. I did not even know what that meant. But he said it like it was normal and I should not question it. I arrived early to get a good spot. When I pulled up I saw Blake's car already in the lot. That made sense because bands come early to set up. I decided to go backstage and wish him luck. I wanted a quick hug. A kiss. A moment that felt like we were a couple. I walked through the hallways and found the green room. And there it was. The truth I had avoided. Blake was on a couch. Tessa was on top of him. Both of them were half-dressed. Their bodies were too close. Their faces were too close. There was no innocent excuse. There was no confusion. I froze. I felt like the air disappeared. Blake saw me and immediately started talking. He tried to say it was not what it looked like. His voice sounded automatic like he had practiced excuses. Tessa looked at me and smirked. She looked pleased. She said something cruel. She implied she finally understood why Blake kept me around. Like I was a tool. Like I was useful for something. Like I was a joke. Blake tried to explain that Tessa was helping him relax before the show. He said it meant nothing. He said I was overreacting like usual. He acted like I was the problem. He acted like I was ruining his night. He acted like I was being dramatic for walking in on cheating. I turned around and walked out. I did not scream. I did not throw anything. I just left because my body felt shaky and weak and I did not trust myself to stay. I went to the bar across the street. I sat down and started taking shots of tequila fast. Like water. Like I could drown the truth. I could not believe I wasted 2 years on someone who was clearly sleeping with his roommate the whole time. I could not believe I let him make me feel crazy when the signs were everywhere. I cried at the bar. I drank more. I kept thinking about every moment I defended him. Every moment I questioned myself. Every time he chose Tessa and I accepted it. After about an hour, Danny showed up. He said Blake texted their group chat. Blake told everyone I went crazy and stormed off for no reason. Danny knew that was not true. He came to find me. He found me drunk and broken and shaking. Danny tried to get me to eat something. He tried to get me to drink water. I kept ordering more drinks. I kept crying and saying I was stupid. I kept saying everyone was right and I should have listened. I remember Danny trying to take my phone when I wanted to call Blake. I remember him telling me to stop because I would regret it. I remember throwing up in the parking lot while Danny held my hair back. I remember his hand on my shoulder and his voice telling me I was safe. After that, my memory went blank. I woke up in a bed that was not mine. My head hurt. My mouth felt dry. My stomach felt weak. I was wearing a large shirt with a company name on it. Henderson Construction. That was Danny's company. My heart raced for a second because I did not know what happened. Then I noticed Danny was asleep on the floor. He had a pillow and a blanket. He looked uncomfortable, but he stayed there anyway. On the nightstand there was water, aspirin, and toast. Everything about the room felt careful. Like someone planned it to help me. Then I looked at my hand. There was a ring on my finger. Not an engagement ring. It was Danny's grandmother's class ring. The one he always wore on his pinky. It was heavy and old and worn smooth. I sat up confused. Danny woke up immediately. He asked if I needed to throw up again. His voice was calm but worried. I asked what happened. I asked why I was wearing his ring. Danny explained. He said I kept trying to call Blake all night. He said he took my phone away because I was too drunk and too upset. He said he gave me his ring to fidget with instead. He thought it would keep my hands busy. He said I refused to give it back. He said I kept saying it was prettier than anything Blake ever gave me. He said that was not hard because Blake never gave me anything. Danny said he slept on the floor after he made sure I was okay. He said nothing happened between us. He said his sister was in the guest room if I wanted proof. He said he called her to come over so I would not wake up alone with only him there and assume the wrong thing. His sister Lori came in with coffee. She confirmed it. She said Danny slept on the floor all night. She said she checked on me every hour. She said Danny looked worried sick. She said Danny kept saying you should have told me sooner. I asked what that meant. Lori told me the truth. She said Danny knew Blake had been sleeping with Tessa for at least 6 months. Danny did not know how to tell me. He worried I would think he was trying to break us up. He worried Blake would accuse him of having motives. So he stayed quiet and tried to be there for me in other ways. That hit me hard. Not because Danny knew, but because it meant the cheating was real and ongoing and not a single moment. It meant Blake lied to my face for months while calling me insecure. While we were talking, Blake's call came in. Then a voicemail. Blake sounded angry. He said I embarrassed him by making a scene at his show. He said Tessa was upset that I invaded their space. Their space. He used those words. Like I had no right to walk into a room where my boyfriend was cheating on me. Blake said if I apologized to Tessa and accepted their relationship dynamic, then we could work things out. He talked like he was offering me a gift. Like he was being generous by considering taking me back. I looked at Danny. He was pretending not to listen while making breakfast. I looked at the ring still on my finger. It felt strange that something so small could feel so meaningful. I told them I needed to call Blake back and end things properly. Danny suggested I should eat first. He said big decisions needed a clear head. He said I had a rough night. Lori put a plate of pancakes in front of me and told me to eat. She said drunk me was hilarious last night. She said I kept holding up Danny's ring and announcing it was prettier than anything Blake ever gave me. She said I refused to give it back and clutched it like it was mine. Danny looked embarrassed. He said I could keep it as long as I wanted. I twisted the ring around my finger and realized something. I felt lighter. Like a weight was off my chest. Like Blake's constant drama and excuses were gone. I played Blake's voicemail on speaker again. His anger sounded small now. His words sounded foolish. He still acted like I was the problem. He still defended Tessa. He still demanded apology. Danny's jaw tightened as he listened. Lori muttered that Blake was delusional. I looked at Danny across the table and saw him clearly. He had been there for me for 2 years. He showed up when Blake did not. He cared when Blake did not. He made sure I was safe when Blake did not. I called Blake back. He answered immediately. He started talking right away like he expected me to return. He said he was glad I came to my senses. He sounded smug. I cut him off. I told him we were done. I told him he could have whatever twisted relationship he wanted with Tessa because I did not want to be part of it anymore. Blake's voice changed fast. He went from smug to angry in one breath. He accused me of overreacting. He said I always did this. He said I knew Tessa was important to him. He said I agreed to be understanding about their friendship. I did not agree to lies. I did not agree to disrespect. I did not agree to being second place behind a roommate. Blake kept talking. He said I was throwing away our relationship over nothing. I hung up while he was still talking. I did not owe him another second. Danny tried not to smile. Lori cheered. She said she waited 2 years for me to dump him. She high-fived me. She said we needed celebration pancakes. She said celebration pancakes tasted like freedom. Then reality came back. I still had a key to Blake's apartment. He had a key to mine. We needed to exchange keys and belongings before things got messy. Danny offered to go with me so I did not have to face Blake alone. Lori offered to go to my apartment to watch for Blake in case he showed up there causing drama. Lori said she wanted an excuse to tell Blake exactly what she thought. I borrowed clothes from Lori because mine smelled like tequila and regret. Danny grabbed his truck keys. We drove to Blake's building. The ride felt different than before. I was not nervous about Blake's mood. I was not worried about making him happy. I was not preparing to accept another excuse. I just wanted my stuff and then I wanted to be done. We parked. Danny asked if I wanted him to come up. I said yes because I did not trust Blake not to manipulate me. We went up to the second floor and I knocked. Tessa opened the door. She was wearing Blake's shirt and nothing else. She looked smug like she won a prize. I handed her Blake's key. I asked for my things. Tessa leaned on the doorframe and said Blake already took my things to my apartment about an hour ago. She said he assumed I would calm down and come back. She said he thought I would realize what I was giving up. I asked what I was giving up. Her smirk widened. She said I was giving up a guy who knew how to have fun. She insulted me and called me boring and jealous. She acted like I deserved cheating because I wanted respect. Danny stepped forward. He told me we were leaving. Tessa called after us and said Blake would be better off without someone as uptight as me. We drove back to my apartment. When we arrived, there were black trash bags on my doorstep. Blake dumped my things outside like garbage. Lori was already there and furious. She started bringing bags inside. She could not believe Blake had the nerve to treat my belongings like that. We carried everything in. I opened bags and my heart sank. My clothes were wrinkled and stuffed. My books were bent. My toiletries were loose and leaking. Nothing was packed with care. It felt like a final insult. Then I found the few gifts Blake gave me over 2 years. A cheap necklace from a mall stand. A coffee mug with a stupid joke. A keychain from a bar where his band played. He took them back. All of them. Even the small things. Like he wanted to erase any proof that he ever gave me anything at all. Danny watched me pull them out. He said quietly that his grandmother's ring was still on my finger. He said I could keep it as long as I wanted. He said it meant more than anything Blake ever gave me anyway. My phone rang. It was Savannah from work. She heard what happened at the show. She wanted to check on me. I told her everything. I told her about finding Blake with Tessa. I told her about drinking too much. I told her about waking up at Danny's place. Savannah said she never liked Blake. She said I deserved better. She said the office always thought I was too good for him, but no one wanted to say it because I seemed committed. She reminded me about the company party last month. I invited Blake and he did not show because Tessa needed help moving furniture. Savannah said that alone told her what kind of man Blake was. I admitted something out loud for the first time. I said I was not happy with Blake. I said I was just used to making excuses. Savannah invited me to dinner with friends from work. She said I needed people around me who actually appreciated me. She told me to come. She also said I could bring Danny if I wanted. I looked at Danny folding my clothes with care. I asked if he wanted to come. He said he would if I wanted him there. We finished cleaning up. Danny drove me to Savannah's place. Savannah lived in a nice complex with a pool and real parking spaces. She opened the door and hugged me hard. Then she saw Danny and pulled him in too. She said anyone who treated me that well was welcome. Inside there were women from my office. Pizza boxes. Wine. Laughter. Warm energy. Savannah introduced me to Michelle from Accounts Payable. Jenna from Tax Prep. Kira from Human Resources. They made space for me immediately. Danny stood awkwardly until Savannah pulled him to the couch and told him to relax. The women started sharing stories about terrible exes. Cheating. Lying. Excuses. They made jokes, but there was real pain underneath. It made me feel less alone. Then they asked what happened with me. I explained the green room. I explained Tessa. I explained Blake's excuses. I explained how he called it their space. Michelle called Blake trash. Jenna asked how long Tessa lived with him. I said 2 years. The whole time. Kira shook her head and asked how I stayed so long. I told them the truth. Blake made me feel crazy for being uncomfortable. He taught me to doubt myself. Savannah said that was manipulation. She said my reaction was normal. She said my instincts were right. Danny stayed quiet. He listened. He watched me. When Michelle asked if Danny and I were together now, I said no quickly and felt my face heat up. Danny also said no. Savannah gave a look like she did not believe either of us. After dinner I went home feeling exhausted but supported. The next week I threw myself into work. I stayed late to avoid sitting alone with my thoughts. Danny texted every morning asking if I needed coffee. Lori invited me for dinner twice. They did not push. They just included me. Blake's messages started coming nonstop. Long angry paragraphs. He blamed me for ruining his band's big night. He said Tessa supported his music in ways I never did. He said people were mad at him because venue owners heard about drama backstage. I deleted each message without responding. But they kept coming. One night I was at Danny's place helping him choose tile for a bathroom remodel. My phone buzzed with another long message from Blake. He claimed the band might break up and it was my fault. Danny saw my expression and asked what happened. I showed him. His jaw clenched. He said Blake was blaming me for consequences of his own choices. 3 days later, Blake sent another message. He said he might consider taking me back if I posted an apology online. He wanted me to say I overreacted. He wanted me to say I misunderstood. He wanted me to protect his reputation. Something changed in me. I was not sad anymore. I was angry. Not wild angry. Clear angry. The kind of anger that finally respects itself. I blocked his number. Danny smiled and said good. Then Danny asked if I wanted to see his office. He wanted me to meet his business partner. I went to Henderson Construction. It was a small office with trucks outside and blueprints on the walls. Danny introduced me to Jasper, his partner. Danny also introduced me to Evelyn, Jasper's wife, who did their bookkeeping. Evelyn hugged me like we were friends. She said she was happy I finally dumped the musician. Later, Evelyn pulled me aside. She told me something that shocked me. She said Danny had been in love with me since the day Blake introduced us. She said he never said anything because I was with Blake. She said he did not want to betray a friend or pressure me. She said watching me be treated badly hurt him. She said this last week was the happiest she saw him in a long time. After that, I started noticing things I ignored before. Danny remembered how I liked my coffee. Danny asked about my work projects and remembered details. Danny listened when I talked about accounting and did not act bored. Danny made me feel seen. I caught myself watching him when he worked. He would look up and smile and my chest would feel warm. It was not like the anxious feeling I had with Blake. It was calm. It was safe. 2 weeks after leaving Blake, I ran into one of his bandmates at the store. The drummer apologized. He said the band knew about Blake and Tessa. He said they felt bad but did not know how to tell me. He said they were relieved I finally left. He also said Blake was telling people a different story. Blake claimed I cheated on him with Danny. That made me furious. That night I posted a simple message online. I said Blake and I broke up because he was unfaithful and I was moving on. Then messages came from people who had seen things. People said they saw Blake and Tessa together for months. People said they left hotels together. People said Blake introduced Tessa as a girlfriend before. Blake called from a different number. He screamed that I was ruining his reputation. I told him he did that himself. I told him to stop contacting me. I hung up. I blocked that number too. A month later, Danny asked me to dinner. He said it was to celebrate 1 month of freedom. I laughed but agreed. At dinner, Danny looked nervous. He admitted Evelyn told him she talked to me. My heart beat faster. I told him I had been thinking about it. I told him he had been the best part of my life for 2 years. I told him he showed up every time Blake failed. I told him I felt foolish for ignoring that. Danny reached for my hand. I realized I still wore his grandmother's ring. It became a comfort without me noticing. Danny said he gave me the ring because even drunk me knew I deserved something better. He said he wanted to give me everything for a long time but did not want to cross lines. I told him I wanted to try. Really try. He smiled in a way that made me feel like the room was brighter. After that, we started dating. Being with Danny felt different. He showed up on time. He kept promises. He remembered things I said. He treated me like I mattered. When I had a big work presentation, he sent flowers. When I was tired, he brought dinner. When I was stressed, he listened and did not make it about himself. My friends from work loved him. They kept saying they could see how safe I felt. I brought Danny to dinner with my parents. They liked him right away. He helped clean up. He spoke respectfully. He asked thoughtful questions. My mother pulled me aside and said this is what a real partner looks like. She said she was sorry she did not warn me about Blake sooner. I told her I understood. I told her I learned. 3 months after Blake, I felt truly happy. Danny and I planned a weekend trip to a cabin. We made real plans and followed through. It felt simple. It felt normal. It felt healthy. One night we were sitting together after a movie. Quiet room. Soft light. Danny looked at me and said he wanted to take his grandmother's ring to a jeweler and have it sized for me. He said he wanted it to fit like it belonged. Then he looked at me with a seriousness that made my breath catch. He said he knew it might feel fast. But he also said he loved me for 2 years already. He said when you know, you know. I looked at him. I thought about how I felt with Blake. Heavy. Confused. Always trying. Always doubting. Then I thought about how I felt with Danny. Safe. Seen. Supported. Calm. Strong. I said yes.